Hello everyone and welcome back to another Wizard101 video. Now this is not the video I planned on making. I was planning on making a lore master guide to like where all the lore spells went after they kind of nuked the lore master. And then I just never really got around to it. That video is still in the works, so keep an eye out for that. But if you didn't know, Test Realms dropped. Now, I was gonna do a Test Realm stream, and then KingsIsle put a sneaky on me. So last year they dropped the latest Test Realm they ever had for Novus, which was in December. So I was expecting late November, December for the Test Realm this year, and then they were like, surprise, it's here in October, and all of a sudden, my character that I was going to quest up before the Test Realm came out hasn't completed Novus yet. So basically, I can't do the Test Realm. Oopsies, whatever, but that's besides the point. The point is there's new spells, and I want to talk about those spells. This is going to be a throwback. This is like what my old videos used to be like, where I talk about things. I know, crazy, isn't it? Today, I want to talk about the new Wallaru spells, because the new Wallaru spells are a little nuts. Now, I want to talk about their positives, their negatives, all that kind of stuff. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Now, I can't show you their animations. If you want to see their animations, look up any other video on it. Look up Wallaru spell animations, there's going to be a video there. But what I can show you, after turning down my sound effects because people have annoying mouths, I can show you what the cards do, and I can do that by coming here to Hephaestus' test shop and going into the reagent shop and looking at the spell elements, buying like one of each of the spell elements here. I'm just going to do that real quick. I now have over 1,000 of that one. Not my intention. Okay, there we go. Now we can look at them. So, what are the new Wallaru spells? Well, they are the brand new AoE spells. Now, this may seem a bit crazy if you're kind of like just thinking about it, because AoE spells are the core of this game. Every spell and every strategy in this game that is like meta is the main line are AoEs. So the introduction of new ones is crazy. Beyond that, these spells are crazy good. So what are they? What's their shtick? Basically, they're an AoE that costs 3 pips plus a school pip of a different kind of value. Now, these can be used first round because obviously we can start with a total of 5 pips. If you didn't know, you can also go into your deck here and change the orb that you start with. So for example, I can go to my myth spells. Let's see, this spell starts with a fire pip. Boom, change this to fire. So now first round, when I put this in my deck, I can use this spell, which is incredibly useful. Now, an overview of how much damage they do. The fire one does 485 base damage. The ice one does 400. Storm 605. Myth does 430. Life does 400. Death does 405, and the balance one does 465. Now, how does this compare to the average current mob hitting spell? Well, Drop Bear Fury, which is the myth one, does 430 at base to all enemies. Humongo Frog does 275 to 315. That is an over 100 base damage increase. That's going to be doing probably about 4,000 to 5,000 with the current gear meta first round, which is insane. I shouldn't need to say that that's insane, but it is. Now, in terms of the schools and which one I think is the best, very obviously Storms. Storms, this can do 605 damage. That's like only about 7 to 80 base damage off of Stormlord. First round, you can basically do a Stormlord compared to before, where the highest damage you could do was about 700 base damage with the Wyvern spell. Now you can do 900 base damage with an epic Bunyip's Rage. So just overviewing positives, this can be used first round. This is going to be the new AoE that's being used first round instead of things like Meteor Strike, Blizzard, Humongo Frog, etc., etc. And they honestly do a really decent base damage. So these spells are positive in that regard. Now let's talk about the negatives, because I do want to talk about the negatives and bring up why these spells might not be as good as we think currently, unless some changes are made. So first things first, let's just bring up the elephant in the room, the balance spell. The balance spell sucks ass. KingsIsle, I don't know what you were cooking here, but it's bad. Now the reason why it's bad, you can see it requires 2 pips, which means balance cannot use this first round. So you're going to have to change your base school pip at least 1 round, and by that point you might as well just use Power Nova, which does 665 damage instead of 465 Rainbow Serpent. Basically, they made it entirely pointless to use this spell. Like, the only reason why you would want to use this is, I guess, you'd use Power Nova after changing your pip one round and then use this, which, okay, I guess, but in most mob fights, you're only going to be wanting to cast like one of these hits. So I don't know. I think the balance one is pretty mid. Like, at highest, it's mid. It's like a mid to bad. So that's the overall negative with that. Now let's talk about the glaring elephant in the room with these spells that I feel like needs to be talked about and brought up. Each of these spells requires an Arch Mastery pip of some kind. So the Myth one requires fire, the Storm one requires death, so on and so forth. Why is this a problem? If you didn't know, currently how Arch Mastery works and how it's worked since it's been released is, for some reason, KingsIsle made it so that you gain Arch Mastery pips based on other players. So this means that first round, you could see yourself not getting an Arch Mastery pip. This has been plaguing deaths since the system came out, because deaths can't use Ship of Fools first round if their Arch Mastery is lower than another player's in combat. What this means is we're going to be having a lot of people who go in expecting to use this spell first round and then go, oh wait, I can't because I didn't get an Arch Mastery pip because someone else did. Now, as far as I know, KingsIsle, I think I remember seeing that they mentioned changing this at some point, but as far as I know, they still haven't touched it since the day it came out a year ago. Now, it was stupid then, it's stupid now, and I have no idea why they made the system this way. I remember I was gonna make a video on it at the time, and I might have. I don't think I did, but I might have. Fact check me on that. But I don't know why they did this. It's a really stupid feature with the Arch Mastery, and it genuinely makes the system much worse than it could be. Obviously, I would have understood if they did this in PvP, if they made it so that, you know, they kind of like balance it somehow in 2v2s, whatever. But in PvE, it makes absolutely no sense. And for these new spells, it's going to be a killer, in my opinion, for some of them. I think that obviously, they're still really good spells, but unless they change this, not going to be as good as they could be. They're not going to be like the 4-pip AoE replacers that they seem to be, unless KI adjusts this, which again, as far as I know, they haven't, and they haven't said anything about in the patch notes about it. So if they just hot patch this, I'll take the video down, but I don't think they have. I haven't seen anything in the patch notes, but I'll say overall that's a basic overview of the spells, the positive and negatives. So now we're reaching towards the end of the video. What are my thoughts? I think these spells are really good. I think that they, despite what I said and the negatives, they do have a place in the game, and they're way better than the spells KingsIsle has been releasing for the last like 3 years. I can read these spells, and that is wildly new to me. The last like 4 spells that have been released, like, what does this even say? 210 damage times 2 damage if mob stunned, or 3+ stun ward self? What does that mean? I couldn't even begin to fathom what that means. But this new spell, I like it. It just says, like look at that. It just says 430 damage to all enemies. That's pretty good. I can read what that says. So I'll take it, you know, I'll take it. So I'll say that, like, in terms of the last 3 years plus of spells, these are my favorites that have been released, and they all have pretty cool animations, which I know I didn't show off this video, but I do think they have pretty decent animations, and some of them are maybe a bit too long, but they're overall fine. Overall, I'd say my opinion of this spell would be overwhelmingly positive, if not for the Arch Mastery pip, in which case I think it's a good spell, but could stand to be better. So let me know, what are your thoughts below? I would love to hear what you think about them. What do you think about the animations? What do you think about Wallaru? I haven't seen anything about Wallaru. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions on it. But otherwise, I think that's it. Expect more videos later this month on Wallaru as it comes out. I would love to do like a little walkthrough series, some live walkthrough maybe, of me doing Wallaru and questing characters up, all that, maybe some videos on my thoughts and opinion on the world, but otherwise, that's it. Make sure to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and otherwise, that's it. I'll see you in the next video. Have a fantastic day. Thank you all for watching.